It's on. You recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay. Okay, consent agendas. First up,
I have a couple of corrections I'd like to add to the minutes from the meeting from last week. The action taken on resolution number 09-2023 was written to approve the highest responsible offer, and I think the minutes need to reflect that it was the highest responsible offer that was accepted. And then the second thing I want to just clarify is on the committee assignments, it was recorded as Iowa West. It should be Iowa West Racing Association. There are two separate boards, and we're not part of Iowa West Foundation, but we have an ex officio spot on the Iowa West Racing Board.
The resolution does reflect the highest responsible offer.
But the minutes.
The minutes do not.
the minutes don't.
Well, the minutes accurately reflect my motion, so we can't just add words to it.
Well, it doesn't match the resolution.
The resolution is the legal binding document.
So do we need to change the resolution?
No, the resolution's correct.
The resolution's correct. The motion doesn't match what the resolution said. I was just looking for some clarification. I think it should read the highest.
I wonder if we might want to get council involved with a recommendation or an opinion. We can probably,
Actually, we did.
oh, you did?
Is that?
I thought someone talked, did you talk to Matt?
No, I did not
Oh,
talk to
okay.
Matt.
And you can defer this part portion?
Jeanette did. And
Oh,
if
okay.
we pass this just with the corrections on it, then we can proceed with that. Let's just do that.
You can't add language to a motion after the.
We're not adding it to the motion, we're adding it to the minutes.
To the resolution.
No,
The
just
min-
to
the
the
minutes-
agenda.
The minutes need to reflect the actual motion.
Do we have the recorded?
I do, I looked at it.
And went through as Iowa West Racing.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Are we
We're
on
talking
that
about the
now?
Caledonia shop.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
we're on the
The
Caledonia.
motion I made, the minutes reflect the motion I made. We can't change that.
Okay,
You want to change the wording from the Iowa West Foundation to the Iowa Racing and Gaming Commission. All that is a board appointment, so it's not like it's a major operation here.
It was just a clarification.
We can do that.
okay. You want to make a motion with the clarifications?
Is that how we correct the minutes? Is we make a motion to correct the minutes?
Yeah.
I didn't look at the recorded motion on that when we didn't make a motion, actually. The recorded discussion on the Iowa West Racing Association. So I'd have to go back and it's really simple. I mean, it's accurate, Susan said. It's the Iowa West Racing Association, not foundation. So as long as both Scott and Susan are aware of that, I think we just move forward with it.
I'd just like to have it disclosed in the newspaper accurately. And in order to do that, we have to correct the minutes.
Let's, Jeanette talk to, give me a minute. Let me talk to Jeanette.
So in these minutes that we're talking about, where's that at, Susan?
In the committee assignments,
Okay,
it's under other business. It just simply says that it's Iowa West, and
Oh,
I was
okay, I
just
see.
trying to
Yeah,
point out there's
gotcha,
two different
gotcha,
foundations,
gotcha,
two different boards.
gotcha.
So your motion, Tim, was to approve the resolution?
I made two motions that day. One to accept the high offer of 79, whatever it was,
Right.
225. And then the other motion was to approve the resolution. In the resolution, it states that it's the highest responsible bidder. We're okay with that. That's the
Okay, that's-
legal binding document that sells
I
the
see what you
property.
mean, right.
So we're okay on the first one?
Yeah, we'll just,
What about the second?
We just need to amend the minutes to say Iowa West Racing Association.
Correct.
Okay, and we'll have to put that on the agenda for next week to change those minutes,
I think
to
we can
reflect
amend,
that, is what,
Well, we can't
Jeanette
approve the
thought-
consent agenda for today if we don't approve the minutes.
I'm stuck here. I don't know which way to go
I
with
think
this.
we can amend, the minutes.
You can amend the minutes
That's,
now.
that's what
Yeah,
we're approving,
amend-
yes.
Yeah, we can amend the minutes on the Iowa West Racing Association.
Okay,
I mean, I'll make that motion.
what's your motion exactly?
To amend Iowa West in the representative meetings to the Iowa West Racing Association.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve the agenda with the corrections. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, now, that
Thank
was
you,
to-
Susan.
Then we should approve the
Technically, that
minutes.
was to approve an amendment.
Amendment,
So after the amendment's approved, then you have to
approve the minutes.
approve the minutes as a whole.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
okay. Motion to approve the minutes from last meeting
consent agenda.
or the consent agenda, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did you second?
Yeah.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carried. Okay, number 2A, Mark Shoemaker. What we got here is Conservation and Judd
Municipal.
Knispel, President of Potawatomi County Conservation Foundation, presentation of funds for the Ferguson Estate land acquisition at Hitchcock Nature Center.
Yeah, last month, the board decided to purchase a piece of property up by Hitchcock. It was the Doris Ferguson Estate. It was about 93 acres. One of the conservation strategies was to find partners and other funding sources to replenish the land fund that this came out, that the supervisors use. So over the next 9 months, we'll be working on other avenues to try to replenish those dollars. I thought it, and the foundation thought it was a good idea if they would come in and present a check to say thank you for what you've done, and also kind of a little PR on their piece. So they have a check that they want to present. Judd Knispel is the president. Lori Shields is the past president, and Kathy Fiskus is also on the foundation. So
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, let's all five go down there.
I'm gonna roost the audience.
yeah, they'll go right.
I got busy.
Kathy, you going up there?
Yeah, I'm gonna,
You get up there.
no. No, I'll take it.
$125,000.
Good job.
Get up there, Brandon.
You're lost in the sea of. Okay, did you get them?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yes, thank you.
You gotta get like this, right?
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Kathy, thank
We'll
you.
take, yeah.
You guys
Thanks.
get people.
We'll take more if you get them.
Won't fit in my deposit.
We'll keep that in mind.
Thanks, you guys.
Bet. Put it on the screen for me.
Okay, next up, Drew Kemp.
We're good to stay here, right, with the mics and everything?
You're okay unless you're gonna give us a big check. Okay, really to work with and Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce and Alicia Freeze, Workforce Development Director, Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, presentation to the board on workforce development efforts. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Chairman and members of the board. We're excited to be back here. I think now this is the third or fourth time since you guys have graciously provided us funds, now going on year 2 of that. So we're really excited. This is now year 3 that we've had the workforce development contract with the assistance of the Iowa West Foundation, the city and the county, plus our private sponsors. A few quick things that I wanted to hit on before I turn it over to Alicia, who handles the day-to-day and does an excellent job doing so. It's just a few big kind of picture items. We continue to grow our partnerships with all the different variety of folks that you would imagine. Alicia will touch on a lot of those, but obviously not only these public institutions and the Iowa West Foundation I touched on, the school districts, Iowa Western, all the outlying school districts, we have a good partnership. The nice thing is you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. So formerly Career Advantage, Avenue Scholars, they're doing a lot outside the community with some internships and things like that. So we're able to work with them and partner with them, plus Haram and some other great organizations as well. A few quick things that I wanted to hit on. One, we just actually got it and I sent it to you this morning. As part of the Iowa Chamber Alliance, we did a survey for talent. We did it last year was the first year. This year we did it again on a statewide basis, but an added benefit we were able to get this year for a little bit of an additional cost is we had them do Pot County specifically as well. So those results are in your inbox. We just got it yesterday, so we're still digesting it, but we'll be happy to have our executive director, myself, others come and talk to you about that later as well in a one-off or whatever setting you might be, but it's good data and it's a good thing to have. The last thing I wanted to touch on is just as you all know, I'm really involved and tied into the advocacy side of things and politics as well. So as we look at things that are being proposed at the state, we continue to watch very closely, specifically some of the consolidation pieces with Iowa Workforce Development being taking on some of the job trainings and apprenticeships and internships. That's something we, not only as an organization, but as a statewide organization, I'm the chair of Professional Developers of Iowa and Iowa Chamber Alliance. We've been closely watching those things because they're hugely impactful on localities and our community colleges and partners. But then also there's just other consolidation with Iowa Economic Development Authority. There's a lot of different pieces being talked about with reshuffling pieces within the Department of Education. IWD and IEDA are really the ones we're watching closely as far as talent. But the last thing I wanted to just note as well, as far as federal pieces go, there's some pieces in front and we're actually going to have a conversation with Congressman Feenstra this afternoon about is, for example, Pell Grant, extensions of Pell Grants for community colleges. That's a big deal. The CHIPS bill, the China bill as it was largely called nationally, the China competition bill, there was some additional incentives to train technology workforce. That's something we're specifically looking at, community colleges being very well adept and very capable at addressing. So that's something we plan on discussing as well. The last issue I wanted to touch on, and it'll be something that I've done this for 10 years and gotten nowhere. It's very much an uphill battle with these folks at the federal level, but immigration. As we look at it for a workforce issue, and as we look at it as an economic issue, and as we look at it as frankly as a humanitarian issue, there's things that we needed to be doing as an organization, but as a state as well, because that's a critical talent pipeline as well, whether you're looking at refugees or immigrants in general that are filling a lot of the jobs we have at some of our primary sector employers. So that's something we'll continue to do as well. Those are some big picture things that I wanted to make sure I touched on. Like I said, I'm going to let Alicia touch on some of the great things she's doing individually within her program of work, and then we'll be happy to take questions.
Awesome, thanks guys. Just as a recap, I kind of like to go over, of course, everything that we are looking at and kind of the numbers that we're looking to improve for our community or the barriers that we see in our community. And the first one that we wanted to address was really to help our employers reduce their turnover that they see inside of their organizations. And so when we first started this program in 2018, we did a survey and it was estimated to have a 33% turnover in the businesses that participated in that survey. And so we do have some updated numbers because they do take these surveys for us yearly. And we are now seeing a turnover percent average of 17%. So a great improvement that we'd like to note there. Some of the other areas that we wanted to address, and of course the numbers that we were working off of again were 2018, so they're prior to the pandemic. And so one of the things we wanted to do was increase our labor pool. It was estimated in 2018 that our labor pool is about 66%. And so in Pottawatomie County right now it's at 65.4, and in Council Bluffs it's at 64.5, which is actually higher than the state average. So we are trending upwards. And I think that we'll be able to do some great things to help other residents get back into the workforce. And we'll note on some of those programs that we've got available here in a little bit. We also wanted to see an increase in brain gain or upskilling of our workforce. It was estimated less than 40% of our workforce had any education or training outside of high school. And so the numbers that we show right now is that the workers in our community that have a bachelor's degree is at 21.9%. In the county, and then in the city, 19.5. But it is averaging about 89% of them have a high school diploma. And so with that being said, in partnership with the school districts and their Plus One initiatives, we can note that they probably have some additional training, as well as some of the partners that Drew mentioned that we're working with to ensure that we make those additional programs and trainings available to them, and that we help directly place them into the hands of our employers. So we are working on that. And then it was estimated that we had 10% of our businesses registered as a fully funded apprenticeship program, went through IWD and jumped into our registered apprenticeship programs. It actually is only about 2.5% of our businesses have got a registered apprenticeship program. So we have got a number of programs and meetings set up with businesses to really try to advocate and show them the programs that are available to the state and help them get those in place. Including this month, we've got Logier coming in to speak with our workforce collaborative on their apprenticeship program that they have through the high schools that have been very successful. So we will continue to work on pushing that initiative. And so a quick overview of just some programs that we have chatted with you guys about before, just so you can see the updates of them, and then we'll jump into some new programming. Our job board continues to grow. We typically have an average of over 80 jobs posted on that site. And over 600 to 1,000 views per week, unique views from job seekers looking at that job board. And we see them regularly come down and then go back up, indicating that the job board is being helpful in helping place employment with our employers. Our Power Hour used to be our Lunch and Learn. So as you guys know, we used to have our monthly Lunch and Learn with our Workforce Collaborative. It was also open to the community, kind of a mini professional development series with some stats, tools, resources available to our employers when they're looking to recruit or retain their workforce. We are transitioning that into our Power Hour, so you'll hear us call it that now. So we're gonna move it to the afternoon, which will actually save some cost on the program itself. We'll be able to house it at the chamber, and then we're hoping because of the hour changes, we'll be able to get a higher participation rate in that. So that is what we're doing there. Our professional development program, I think, is probably still one of our strongest programs that we've got available, and we've added to that this year, and so we'll kind of dig into that a little bit later, but that is something that we will continue to see in 2023. And then our Grow CB, continuing to work with the school districts to grow that program, and we've got some kind of stay campaigns that we want to work into that with the school districts, so we will be working on that. We don't have any details on that yet to share, but know that next time we present, we'll probably have some additional information about Grow CB and the ways that we're actually looking to grow the program. And then Unbelievable Workplaces continues to grow. We actually just sent all the surveys out today. There was definitely growth in the number of participating businesses on that. So we're excited to see how many of them are deemed unbelievable by their employees once those surveys come back in, due in on February 13th. And then we will have the celebration in March at the PACE Center. So you guys will all receive an invitation to that, so we can see who Council Bluffs' Unbelievable Workplaces are for 2023. And then as Drew mentioned, we definitely have some new partnerships. Relocation, something that we've chatted a lot about. We understand it's kind of a cycle with our housing concerns, but it also is a cycle that we have when we're bringing in industry partners and new employers without growing the labor pool that we already have. It's very fluid between Council Bluffs and Omaha. We understand that, but with both sides of the river growing, we really need to make sure that we're looking at trying to recruit more individuals to our community. And so we are partnering with the Council Bluffs Convention and Visitors Bureau. They've got an extremely large reach of contacts and high impressions on their website that include visitors coming to the community. And thanks to some information given to us by IEDA, we know that 64% of visitors would highly consider moving to Iowa because of a visit here. So those are the folks that we're looking to start marketing to. And so the CVB is creating a relocation site on their website, as well as we have one on ours in our relocation guide as well. And we'll start doing some marketing pieces that they will send out, as well as we're going to do monthly blogs from local folks that have moved to the area about why they moved to the area and why they continue to live in the area. And so we've got a line of what those individuals will look like, so we can ensure that we're hitting and touching on all folks from our community, from the C-suite down to our entry-level workers, and from all aspects of residents, so that everybody that reads those articles can really find themselves living in Council Bluffs and would understand what that would look like to live here. Some of the things that IEDA discovered when surveying visitors that came to Iowa was that some of the top aspects they want to hear about are our outdoor areas, our landscapes, our outdoor recreational areas, and the job availability that we have. So those will be some other blogs that we'll make sure to hit on, as well as the campaign ads that will go out with them. So once we launch that, we'll give you guys some more information about it. But there is a QR that you can jump into to start looking at that new relocation page that they've got available. So as we mentioned, we really want to increase our labor pool as well as provide some upskilling. And so we were able to launch at the end of last year our LIFT program, which is leveraging individual female talent mentoring program. So statistically, some things that we know is that 80% of females will not apply for a job if they don't have 100% of the job requirements or a strong support system to help them feel confident enough to go ahead and apply for that job. So that was one aspect that we wanted to address with the leveraging individual female program that we put together. The other statistic that we received from the Omaha Chamber was that there were over 19,000 individuals that left the workforce during the pandemic. About 65% of them were female, and only about 24% of them have reportedly returned back to the workforce. So while they're not registered maybe on unemployment because they're not collecting unemployment, they still have not really registered or found a return to the workforce. And some of that would be, of course, being out of the workforce for so long. How do you find the right path back into it? And so with our mentorship program, they are paired with a female HR manager from Haram for 6 months. And then with Haram and the Chamber, we have created kind of a guidebook of suggested activities that they can do over the course of the 6 months, and offered up all of our networking and professional development programs to the LIFT members, including 3 series that was created by Business Ethics Alliance, that if they're professional development opportunities for the LIFT members. And so we've received great feedback from that so far. We have 7 members in the program, and it should be wrapping up around March. And then we're going to kick off our second cohort in June with the goal of having 20 individuals on that. So we definitely have the RAM, the HR managers that are willing to participate in the program. We want to make sure that we've got some testimonials from the participants, the mentees, to ensure that we can market that out to the community and kind of give the value of that to our residents. So we'll be able to give you some new numbers next year on that. As we said, our professional development program continues to grow, and it's probably one of our most popular programs that we see. And we hope that that is part of the reason that we see the reduction in the turnover percentage is due to some better leadership at those organizations that are taking the surveys. And so we did introduce a new program this year with our professional development workshops, and it is called the Leaders of Integrity. And so the Leaders of Integrity Development Program, if they sign up for that course, they essentially would go through all 5 professional development workshops we have got available throughout the year, ensure that they really are taking the initiative to become a better leader for their organizations. And then they would get some public recognition from the Chamber, including a webpage where we'll put their headshot at. We'll recognize them at the annual meeting, and we'll also give them some digital marketing that they can use on their signatures, etc., to ensure to boost the fact that they have really taken the time to go through these professional development programs. And our professional development programs are still going to be led by BEA. And so we're really excited for those new programs. The first one that we have coming up is a new one to the program that will start in February, and that is Everyone Communicates But Few Connect. And so really diving into how to really make a strong connection and actually have very strong communication with your team, including probably a whole day on listening, which we have really dove into and discovered that's the one thing that nobody ever gets taught, right? We get taught how to talk, we get taught how to write, we get taught how to send emails, but nobody ever teaches you how to be an active listener and to really understand somebody without just wanting to respond. So
What was that you said?
I almost answered you. Good one. I was like, oh wow, that's coincidental. So definitely jump in, check those programs out. We're really excited for those, and those are really the way that we develop those programs, and direct feedback from participants and from our leaders themselves on the things that they think that they're struggling with or the leadership below them is struggling with, so that we can make sure that that's something that's available at an affordable cost to them. And then lastly, we have got our diversity, equity, inclusion. I know we talked pretty heavily about some of the initiatives and efforts that we had in that area during the last time that we met. We were able to receive a grant from Google, which allowed us to produce 4 mini-series videos on DE&I, and so it really was in the intent to provide a safe place for individuals that aren't familiar with DE&I to go in and start looking at what that means and what that might mean in their workforce or in our community, so that hopefully gives them the courage to join the conversation or start asking questions so that we can really make sure that our workplaces are diverse and that our community is diverse as well. So those are the last ones we have. There are some YouTube links on there for you that you can jump in and look at. Otherwise, those are our new programs if you guys have any questions.
I had 2 things I wanted to add real quick, sorry, Lisa. One, we are currently, actually, Jana was really helpful just this last week at getting us this information, but every 3 years, the state assists and does labor sheds by county, but really by your labor shed, which is really about, we'll say 50 miles outside where people are driving in from to work in your community. So they're getting that data compiled. That means we will get a new labor shed here in the next few months. That's important data. We're trying to make sure all of our large employers participate, because obviously the more data you have, the more accurate it is. So that's something we're working on. And one important thing on that too is you can pull it by sector. So when Paula has something and it's, warehouse distribution, or it's food production, or it's advanced manufacturing, tech, whatever, you can pull it specifically for data within those, and that's helpful based on the surveys that they provide. And that's a partnership with both Iowa Workforce Development, Iowa Economic Development Authority, and then local economic developers. And then the last piece I wanted to mention is livability. We've done our community guide since I've been here, and long before that, just in a house. And one of the things that a lot of chambers are going to, and it's been highly successful, is livability. They have a national online presence on the internet, so obviously you're getting global recognition there. And then also they do a nice publication, so it's 70% print, 30% ads. So, they come in and they sell, and then obviously it gives us a great opportunity to work with our partners like you and our other folks that we listed before to tell really cool stories about Council Bluffs and Southwest Iowa. So that's something we're really, really excited about. And the main predominant piece of that is it's a workforce talent and attraction piece. So we're really excited about that. And if you hit certain metrics on sales, which we will, it's free as well. And we actually make money on the venture. If we hit a certain number, we recoup X amount on the sales. So that's a positive for all involved. So I just wanted to make sure I touched on those 2 pieces as well, because those are both really important pieces of information.
Wow, a lot of information.
It's a lot to
Good.
take in, right?
A lot of new stuff going on. Questions?
Yeah, real quick. Your focus is Council Bluffs and Potawatomi County, is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah,
Okay.
primarily.
So who is our competition? Would you say Nebraska is our competition, or the Omaha area is our competition, or the rest of Iowa is our competition? How would you rate those?
As far as workforce?
Well, workforce, economic development, all the above.
Well, I think that we do really well with the economic development, honestly. Iowa's got a lot of great things happening here, and Paula and her team do a great job. So I think that when it comes to that, we've probably got some good things happening. When it comes to workforce, and we can share the labor shed with you, which actually has a heat map that we'll show you, but there's about 13,000 workers that leave Potawatomi County and transfer into Nebraska. And then it will show you the pockets of where it's most heavily populated, and Omaha is probably the heaviest of where it's.
Okay, I have relatives that live in Omaha. My wife grew up in Omaha. And they've recently become envious of those of us living in Iowa across the river.
Yeah.
Specifically, one reason, taxes.
Yeah.
So would you say we have a tax advantage, and we should take more advantage of that?
Yeah, we definitely do, especially as we see things come down and this flat tax kick in ultimately over the next couple of years.
Yes.
That's going to be hugely important. They did catch on and exempt military retirement fee and things like that, but we also have inheritance fees. Inheritance tax went away and stuff like that. We have a lot of tax incentives that other states don't, especially when you're looking across the river. I actually was privy to an email that a leader sent out of Omaha when that bill passed the state legislature last year, and it was basically OS. They were saying, oh crap, we need to catch up because we're going to be in trouble if we don't, because just the additional pieces that gave us competitive advantages. As far as communities in the state that are similar to us, Sioux City would be a very close one that you look at. Dubuque, in some ways, especially size, and obviously their predominant city, obviously being the county seat as well. So those are some that are similar size-wise. You can say some other ones, but they're not similar, like Ames, technically, Story County, but they're very much more white-collar with the Tier 1 region institution and stuff like that. So the ones that I would probably say are most comparable are probably your Sioux Cities, your Dubuques. Davenport's quite a bit bigger, but yeah, those would be some good comparisons.
And then when you're looking at recruiting in this metro area, I mean, we do have a lot of veterans already live in this area, but like Drew mentioned, our benefits in Iowa are much better than those in Nebraska. They did catch on with the taxes for their housing, but other than that, there's also 2 relocation incentives that they can apply for if they're relocating to Iowa. So those are something else we have in our pocket. And we regularly work with Home-Based Iowa and send out that relocation information to any of those folks that are looking to find new employment. So they receive all the benefits of living not only in Iowa, but also moving to Pottawatomie County with the $5,000 and the $2,500 new housing incentive, so.
The last thing I'll just touch on, I know this is probably more than what you wanted to hear, but we have the transportation infrastructure too. Having 8029 and having the rail infrastructure that we have, obviously the river on some level, but then also just Mid-American Energy being under the Berkshire banner. They have, last I heard, the 11th lowest energy cost of anyone in the country. So that puts us highly competitive when you look at the Googles and others of the world that use massive amounts of cold storage, that use massive amounts of electric. That's a big deal. So that's another thing that we have a competitive advantage on. Last thing is TIF. Our TIF incentives, where we have more flexibility than Nebraska does, that really helps Paula and her team when they're trying to talk to people, especially if they're looking at coming across the river. We can be more competitive with our TIF development agreements.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Drew, thank
Have a
you.
great day.
See you a little later. Okay, next up, John Rasmussen. Discussion on and/or decision to approve resolution number 10/2023 for the sale of the Walnut Shop and authorize the chairman to sign the closing documents.
Pretty self-explanatory there. We gave Walnut the option to buy the shop at the appraised cost. So the appraised cost is $100,000. They would like to execute that.
I'll move that for you, Brian.
Okay,
A second?
a motion and a second to approve the sale.
Was that you, Jeff? Second?
Yeah. All in favor signify by saying, oh, this is a roll call, I'm sorry, because it's a resolution.
Chairman
Melvin?
Shea,
Yes.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
and Jorgensen.
Aye.
Got that. Okay. Okay, John, you're up again. Discussion or decision to approve resolution number 11/2023 for the sale of the Hancock Shop and authorize chairman to sign closing documents.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
And
Melvin, would you do a roll
I have a
call?
question.
Yes, go ahead.
So the appraised cost on this one was,
$60,500.
and that's the purchase price?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Shea,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
and Jorgensen.
Aye.
So what happened with Volk? Did they come in later?
I don't think Voca is gonna buy that property. I don't think Voca has an interest.
Oh, I thought they sent us in something, said they were dead.
No, I think they were contacted. I think they waived that. They weren't interested. I'll double check on that.
So we got something back from the city that said they weren't interested?
I think Carrie did. I can get a copy or check on that.
Okay. I swore we saw something that.
You know, I thought that Avoca expressed an interest in that building. And
Right.
that's where it was left as far as I know.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of them saying no, but.
okay. Well,
I'll follow up on it for you.
let's just confirm it, I guess.
Okay. That'll do that. Up next, Andrew Moats. Discussion or decision to approve and authorize recorder to execute media conversion contract with Fidlar Technologies in the amount of $48,430.72 to be paid from the gaming fund.
Yeah, I tried to outline the project to you guys, but just to sum it up, we have all the images scanned for books for transferring documents from like 1970 back to 1853. And we're wanting to move those images into our online database. So that's what the quote is today. Came in about $48,000. I don't have it in my budget, but working with Mitch, I think some money was set aside in your capital plan and gaming. So that's what I'm here to ask for
We
today.
thought that was gonna be around 60, didn't we?
Yep, it came, originally quoted at 60. When we got the final number, it came in
Correct.
just under that.
Was that last summer or last fall we talked about that?
Yeah, about, probably right around July or so.
Yeah, yeah.
1853?
Yep, and just transferring documents, so there's a lot of other random things down there, but we're gonna stick to transferring documents for now.
So then documents then go, once they're scanned in and put in, or are we still gonna retain them then, or what do we?
Yeah, we're not gonna get rid of any books or anything, they'll all stay in the basement, but we have all the images scanned now, they're just not available to the public. So we're wanting to convert those, and then Fiddler will index them by book and page. So for these documents, you won't be able to type in a landowner's name. You'll have to type in the book and page, but we can help anybody find that. The index books are online, so people can find the book and page numbers themselves. I think over time, we'll index them by grantor and grantee, but if we included that in the contract, the price would have been astronomical.
It's a big step forward and it'll keep some.
Yeah, it's over
Labor.
500,000 images, so I think getting those available to the public, I think that's always our goal, and we have them all scanned, so why keep them to ourselves?
Good.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, you know my interest in history,
Mhm.
especially in Potawatomi County Council was. Were you able to flag or list those historical entries by any chance, or do we just have to go through?
There was some work done to find all the Lincoln properties. I think there's a map that GIS drew up for.
Yeah, I don't know if Kathy's got that or I sent it to Grant, but,
We have that
She probably
somewhere,
still
but
got it.
outside of the Lincoln properties, that's all I
but
know.
whether, if somebody's going in, like Jeff wanted to go in and find those online, there's no way to flag,
No, it's gonna take a little more
Lincoln
work.
search or something.
So
Yeah.
500,000 pages I'll have to go through, is that right?
Mhm. Or go talk to Kathy. She's-
Yeah.
She's got them.
We can help you narrow it down a little bit.
All right, thank you.
490. Okay, anybody want to
I'll
make a
make
motion?
that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Belt, and a second by Miller. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed by saying no? Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good move on the project. Okay, next one, Andrew Moats, County Recorder, and Peggy Becker, Interim Administrator, Veteran Affairs, discussion on lease of copier for the Avoca Courthouse.
We threw Lee onto this too, because she's involved, so.
Oh, great.
So I don't know if any of you guys have visited Avoca when any of the officers are working out of the courthouse. But we all share a room and there's one copier in there and it kind of died on us. So I think talking with David, he recommended leasing a copier as opposed to buying one outright. And then I kind of thought it might be appropriate for the board to cover the lease of the copier with all these departments using it. So it's just a discussion today to gauge your interest before I go to Bishop and have them drop the contract, but the quote came in about $50 a month.
$50 a month,
So
okay.
we own the one that's there now?
Yep.
How old
I
is
think
that?
the VA owns it, is what IT said.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure how old it is. I
Well,
think
it
it's
was
been there for a
like,
while.
Before, when Darlene was there, and it was before, that too, so it's been there a long time.
Okay.
What's the brand on it?
HP.
HP?
The toners are cost prohibitive on a lot of them.
Oh,
We buy them
yeah.
outright.
Oh, yeah.
Will the,
Unbelievable.
will the printer be hooked up to the internet so you have to use your badge to get a copy or sign in?
Yeah, so there's a workstation out there that IT has set up. So if you're logged into that workstation out there, then you can print to it.
So then we could charge you for your printing?
For the copies or?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna see so few copies, I think most of them are gonna be built into the price of the lease.
Okay.
But I don't think we're gonna see too many overages.
Okay.
So the lease allows so many,
Yeah, the lease allows maybe 300 black and white copies and 100 so color copies, so,
a month?
yep. And we don't use that many copies, I don't know what everybody else uses, Lee's only
Not
up
right
there.
now.
I'm
I'm
probably
sure
the only one that uses all.
Different times of the year, you use it more than other, so.
But it's more just that we need a printer out there and trying to figure out how to get it out there.
And you said something that's stirred my memory. You said the East End Courthouse.
Yep.
Help me out. Is there a courthouse out there they call the East End Courthouse? Is it a county-owned facility or what is it?
There's a old courthourhouse in Avoca, I don't know what the official title for the building is.
East side.
Avoca Courthouse is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's owned now by the Historical Society or.
Was it Pot County Courthouse at one time?
Yes.
It was. The original courthouse is in Avoca.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, we got such a big county, we had 2 courthouses.
There were 2 county seats at
Always,
one
there were
time.
always 2 courthouses?
Mhm.
Okay.
And it was
Not
kind of
anymore.
abandoned probably back in the 80s. I know I had jury duty up there in the 70s. But somewhere in the 80s, everything pretty much got moved over here as far as the courts, except that the state court system still recognized it as a courthouse. Then there was one gentleman who was going to court and he wanted his trial to be set in Oakland, or Avoca. He was from Oakland.
There's
And-
one other county that has, over on the east that has,
Lee County still has Fort Madison and, can't remember the name of the other town, but they're both active courthouses even for county staff.
We still use a part of it for each of these departments, recorder, VA, and treasurer.
I see. And I'm sure they appreciate you guys being out there.
They love having us out there, yeah.
They love it. I bring donuts and coffee.
And the lease for $50 would include
Yeah.
all the toner expenses too.
Yep, service
So
and
there's-
maintenance and all that. And Bishop manages all the other printers with the county, so just be adding that onto that. So if that's something you guys are okay with, I'll have Bishop draw it up and then I'll bring it back for your signature.
Okay, they say so many copies a month,
Yes.
but yet we're gonna have several different sections where we have more, and there'll be months we don't use it at all, correct?
Oh, you'll use it.
Not at all.
We go once a month, so
Right.
we
Oh, good,
really,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
well, he's gonna bring us back, there's no action, he's gonna bring us
You
back
can
to
increase the
contract.
copy
I
ratio
assume
on that
David will.
too.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
David
You're
will.
working with David on this?
Yep, I'll work with David.
Okay.
That's who all the other printers are with, right?
Yep.
$50 a month sounds more than reasonable.
It really does.
All right, I'll bring it back to you then.
You can't buy printer's ink for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Peggy Becker, interim administrator for the Veterans Affair. Discussion and/or decision for approval in allotment for commissioners' pay.
Yeah, I also want to recognize, I have 2 of my commissioners here, Brad Powell, secretary, and Nick Gutall, one of the members. So back in 2018, December of 2018, that commission at that time approved an increase for our commissioners to be paid $50 instead of $25. Other than speculation, I don't know where it went from there. I can only assume that Darlene presented it in her Board of Supervisors presentation of the budget, but it should have been approved independent of the budget, and it was not. So we are asking to retroactively approve that increase back to the fiscal year July 2019 moving forward.
Chairman Shea, I don't have any issues with that. I believe that that's a fair amount for a meeting. I would make a motion that we approve the allotment of $50 an agended meeting. So I think you meet once a month, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, it's virtually it's minimal amount of money. It's already in your budget.
Yes.
So when they have a meeting at the VA building, those commissioners will get reimbursed for agended meetings.
Agenda meetings,
How
okay.
many commissioners are there?
There are 5.
Was there 5 in 19 too?
When the proposal was put, no, there was only 3. We didn't increase to 5 until February of 2019.
Okay, so are we going back to July of 2019 then?
Yes. Because that's when it started paying the 50. We actually started paying the 50.
Okay,
It won't reflect any funds back to there. We're just making it, we're just approving it as part of our job to approve the pay for those people. It was never done. All we're doing is approving that pay increase that happened in 2019. Not gonna go back and pay. They've been getting $50
They've
a
already
meeting,
been
right?
getting paid, but the
So it's-
approval has to be retroactive because I guess the state auditor can ask for the money.
so they're already been getting the 50?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
just never approved it on the board, on
Not
the county
independent
board.
of the budget presentation,
Okay.
and that is an assumption. I was not a part of that budget presentation.
Okay,
So that's speculation that it was presented during the budget presentation.
There's no retroactive cost though, right?
No,
Right, okay.
No.
I'm fine moving forward with that.
I got a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
$50 per meeting for agended meetings.
And a second
So
by Jorgensen. Go ahead.
they have to be in attendance, right?
yes,
Okay,
yes. They get $50 plus mileage. There have been instances where they've attended via cell phone, Zoom, whatever. They don't get mileage when they attend in that manner.
would they
But
get
they still
paid-
get their $50,
They get
yes.
paid for attendance
Yes.
via Zoom or whatever. Okay.
So you still do it Zoom? Okay.
Occasionally, we have a couple that can't make it in for whatever reason, but they're able to attend via Zoom or on cell phone.
All right, got a motion and a second to approve the $50 pay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hauser, would you read that motion back to me?
The motion is to approve allotment for the commissioner's pay, which took effect in July of 2019. From
For
20
agended meetings.
For agended meetings,
Yes.
for attended meetings,
Agended,
agended meetings.
yes.
That's what you want in that motion?
Yes.
Okay, that's what you put in there.
Anyone opposed, signify by saying no.
That was my motion. Oh. I'm
That,
looking-
we approved, I just had to finish the deal. So motion carried.
How do you spell agended? AED?
Is there,
AGEN.
Agenda.
is there something in the Iowa code about the pay for
I don't
commission?
think it's specifically to veterans boards. I think it's boards across the way. It's
Okay.
$25 unless approved by the Board of Supervisors as far as increase.
Okay,
That would be.
thank you.
Thanks for what you guys do. Serious. It's good. Okay, motion carried. Next up, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Develop, and/or Pam Kalstrup, Zoning and Land Use Coordinator, Planning and Development. Discussion on FEMA CRS Community Annual Recertification and Progress Report, and authorized chairman to sign certification form. Matthew?
Potawatomi County is a part of the CRS program, which is the Community Rating System. It's a voluntary incentive program that recognizes and encourages community floodplain management. In CRS communities, flood insurance premium rates are discounted to reflect the reduced flood risk resulting from the community's efforts that address 3 goal areas. Number 1 is reducing and avoiding flood damage to insured property. 2 is to strengthen and support the insurance aspects of the National Flood Insurance Program. And 3 is to foster comprehensive floodplain management. Potawatomi County is one of 3 counties in the state to have achieved
the goal of becoming a CRS rated community. We are currently rated at a number 9, which allows everybody in rural Pottawatomie County a 5% discount on their flood insurance rates when they come across. It takes a lot of work from staff, and Pam does a great job of making sure that every year when we have to recertify for this program, all of our paperwork is filled out. I believe it's every 3 years. ISO comes by, insurance services come by and do a big audit of our program. And it is really thorough, it's very time consuming, and we are continuing to look for ways to increase our rating, because we can get residents up to, if we were to say, reach the top goal of this program, Class 1 CRS community, then they would receive a 45% discount on their flood insurance when they go to renew every year. So it is one of the best ways, I believe, that the Board of Supervisors has to directly affect residents and to be able to hand back discounts, where a lot of times we're not able to do that. But when you look across the country, I think there's 3 different cities across the US that have actually reached the Class 1. Most of them are in the 3s, is usually about as high as what they get up to. But you really, I mean, it's such an in-depth program, you almost have to have full-time staff just dedicated to that. We have information out in the libraries, not only here in Council Bluffs, but out in the county. We also do flyers. We try to, we hang up in when you come into our office, when residents first come in, you can see pictures of before and after the floods, so that way people don't get flood amnesia. So all of those things that we do are instances towards how we're building credit for the CRS program. And I do have some maps to hand out to you that show the other communities in the state that belong to this program.
What is CRS?
Matt, what's the highest number?
Community rating system. The highest is a 1, the lowest is a 10.
Okay, so we're at 9.
We are in 9, which is a 5% discount level.
So you said just this protection goes to just the rural parts of Pot County, is that correct?
It is, because that is the floodplain that we manage.
So the communities, each community would have to do their own rating then?
Correct. Each individual community would have to submit their own application and go through the same review process that we did as a county to be able to obtain that.
Matt, do these little towns know about this? I mean, have they got, a lot of them don't have the staff to understand this.
Correct, and I'm sure that there are ones that the floodplain plays bigger roles in that are aware of it. Any community who has adopted any kind of floodplain management practices, the Iowa DNR comes through, makes sure that you are following your code, and because if you don't enforce floodplain management in your community, the Iowa DNR will come down and do it for you. And so we go through a review process with them as well. They do it every 5 years. It's called a CAV inspection. They will come drive through all of our CAV, C-A-V. They will come drive through our floodplain areas all across the county and bring us in pictures of any kind of new structures along with addresses to make sure we permitted it appropriately. Did we get the elevation certificates that we needed? And we just kind of audit each permit individually. And then they go through with us and show us how much money was claimed as flood damage in the county for that year. Are there any repetitive lost properties that we have? Which along with our buyout process that we're doing right now, that is, we are purchasing a lot of the homes in our floodplain area, at least on the western side, but we still have quite a bit more floodplain that stretches out onto the eastern side around the niche and things.
Matt, help me, the Army Corps of Engineers is responsible for the Missouri River, is that correct? I mean, the water flow, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and some flooding issues are naturally occurring events. Some flooding issues are man-made, am I right? I think it was maybe not the last flooding issue, but the one before that. It was the Army Corps of Engineers that was releasing considerably more water than usual and causing flooding in Pottawatomie County. Am I correct on that?
I'd say in the 2000 flood event, that was pretty much the way it went.
And so when you talk about flooding and discounting and everything like that, how much responsibility does Army Corps of Engineers have in all of this?
That I couldn't answer you.
Okay, okay. We do have an issue with the Army Corps of Engineers, I feel, and I don't know if that's been fully addressed. I for one would like to delve into that at some point, maybe talk to you guys afterwards, how's that sound? Okay?
Okay.
When you said something right before that about, on the east side, we've got several flood, potential flood properties.
There is a lot of floodplain area that stretches up through Avoca, all the way down following the Nishna, and some of the inlets to that.
But are them outside those city limits? Is that what you're saying?
There are some outside the city limits, yes.
Okay.
It's not as heavily populated as what our western floodplain was, but
But they're not, nothing recently would have been able to build there unless they were brought up to a certain height, right?
yes. When they did the remapping of the floodplain in, I think it was our 2013 maps that came out,
Right.
there was they grabbed significantly more ground than what they had previously on the eastern side for us. We were fielding a number of phone calls from residents who had not been in the floodplain, but were now in the floodplain, and went through a lot of letter of map amendments, and but it was quite a large land grab at that time.
I thought they did it again in 2018 and such, the new maps again.
Yeah,
Firm maps.
it was 13, 15, it was 13, 15 or 18, because they did our county in two pieces. The eastern side got it at one time, and then remember they withheld the Missouri River Basin because they were doing the STAR
Right.
map. And then I don't even really know whatever came out of the STAR program, because they were gonna really bring up our elevations at that point in time. Then they weren't really taking into consideration any of the work that was being done since the 2011 floods. And so that was our argument at that time. Even a city council was joined in with us on that they needed to wait and give us a little bit of credit for the work we were doing.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So those houses that came into the floodplain, did that raise our number 9? Did that go up at that point
It doesn't,
for the county?
no.
Okay.
So that is all based on our outreach efforts and our being more restrictive of what the federal guidelines are. Potawatomi County, whenever guidelines get pushed down to us from the state or from the federal level, we usually adopt them as they are. We don't go above and beyond that piece of it. So we make people, if you're gonna build something in the floodplain, it has to be 1 foot above base flood elevation. The CRS will give you extra credit if we start to say, if we write it into our ordinances that say you have to be 2 to 3 feet above base flood elevation. So every footboard above base flood elevation brings you up higher in the rankings. But like I said, we've always had it's just been a determination that as those guidelines get pushed down to us, we're not trying to go above and beyond. We just want to, if that's what they're saying, that's what's going to keep people and property safe, then that's what we're at.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, you need a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed signify by saying no. Motion carried. Okay, Matt, you're up again. Planning and Development, and Maria Seat, Administrator, Public Health. Discussion and/or decision on appointments to the Board of Health.
Yes, we are.
Is there one open or 2?
There are 2 spots that are currently open. Our veterinarian is stepping down, and then our medical director's term had ended. And so the 2 people, we had it out for publication. 3 applications came in. We reviewed those applications, and our recommendation to the Board of Supervisors is to appoint Sean Jones and Amber Strobing to the Potawatomi Board of Health for a period of 3 years. Dr. Jones has served on the Board of Health for 4 years. He's a pediatrician in Council Bluffs and has been actively supporting public health as a medical director, approving our standing orders, auditing our clinical activities, and reviewing our programming. Amber Strobing is a veterinarian in Council Bluffs and a resident of rural Potawatomi County. Her expertise with animal care and regulations is needed on the Board of Health for animal control, recommendations, and reviews. Bite assessments are becoming a common occurrence. And then, the membership to the Board of Health, membership of the Potawatomi County Board of Health consists of 5 persons appointed by the Board of Supervisors. Membership will include a licensed physician and appropriate representatives from other professional disciplines.
Chairman Shea, I'll make a motion to approve Sean Jones and Amber Strobing to the Potawatomi County Board of Health.
I'll second that.
Motion by Supervisor Wickman, second by Chairman Jorgensen. All in favor signify, what?
Chairman.
What a promotion.
Oh, sorry, Supervisor. Sorry.
We're not going there yet.
Let's hope not. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, signify by saying no. Motion carried.
Do you know how to spell Strobing?
Yeah, we have that down if you need it.
I'll just give you a sheet.
Well, just to make sure that Jeanette gets it in there, right?
Mr. Hauser, STROO, she has it in her one.
All right, these 2 H's, okay. You need that back? I just didn't know if there's 1 H or 2.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Maria. Lee Voss, County Treasurer, discussion and/or decision to approve Potawatomi County Treasurer's semi-annual report for July 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022.
Yes, sir. You have a copy?
We've got sheet, we've got
Yeah,
one on
I'll
our.
make that motion. I just got one question.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'll second that.
The only question on corporations, see that down there, line 4,400?
Where are you at?
4,400 corporations?
Sure.
What do you think's going there?
I'll have to find out.
It's,
I think that was a newer one that was built, but I'll find out.
it went up quite a bit from,
Mitch, you got any ideas? Can
Went
you
up
look at that
from,
44?
about a half
Mm-hmm.
to
Wouldn't be a TIF deal, would it?
I don't think so, but
Wow.
labeled that way, it just doesn't ring a bell with me.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed signify by saying no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Do a good job down there.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Keep the money rolling. Keep the money rolling.
Okay, our committee chairs or committee meetings from last week.
Jeff and I attended the department head meeting last Wednesday,
Good.
and I thought it was very positive. The room was filled with passionate, engaged, and caring leaders, and that was just very refreshing to me. So,
Good.
Yeah, I certainly second Susan's sentiment on that. I think we got a great bunch of employees for the county. I mean, they are the front line for us, and they certainly do a great job.
so I appreciate you inviting us to sit in on that meeting, so that
Good.
was a great opportunity.
Did you have any, Scott?
No.
Okay. Last Saturday, there was a bike trail meeting, well, fundraiser down at Mineola. Bike Trail Committee raised somewhere's around 20 grand. They gotta figure their expenses and stuff, but it was quite a little, neat deal down there. Had a lot of energy. And then I attended the Public Health Board. I'm liaison to that, and that's always very interesting. Strobing will be a good match to the board. And Dr. Jones is really good too. So, and it's always interesting to see what our hospitals and everybody's doing. There's a lot of community support through the hospital for different programs that people can go to, and they'll help you apply to get whatever kind of help you need through them. So that was something I wanted to let everybody know. Okay, moving on. Public comments. We got any public comment speakers? That's it? Okay.
Chairman Shea, I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 20.1.